Let's now turn to that key commodity of gold, which has obviously been moving in response to the conflict between Israel and Iran. Brian Chew is the founder of Australian Gold Fund. He joins us now. Brian, welcome back. Good to see you. What are your observations with those price movement with spot gold at the moment in response to what we're hearing, given we're into day 5 of this conflict?
Hi, Andrew. Really good to be here. What's interesting is when the news of the outbreak occurred between Israel and Iran last week, gold spiked to over 3,440 US dollars an ounce, and oil jumped to as high as $74. But if you look at the gold stocks themselves, on Friday, I was actually on the road driving back up from Melbourne. And the thing is, I would have loved to talk at the time, but had to focus on the road. But what I noticed was gold stocks actually jumped early in the morning. And then during the afternoon, it actually gave back quite a lot of its gains. And if you look at the graph on the gold stock index, you'll notice that the gold stocks have gone parabolic since March last year. And we saw it hit a high in on April 22nd, and then it pulled back quite sharply in March before turning around, and then it really started gaining once again in the last 2 to 3 weeks. And we saw gold stocks jump and reach, broke its all-time record once again last Friday before turning back. And then yesterday, again, we saw gold stocks head higher, and then once again, it gave back their gains. Now, what do I read out of that is, even though on one hand, Israel and Iran, there's a lot of talk about how they would escalate the tensions, and it's almost a tit for tat type of maneuver. And furthermore, Israel had also appealed to the US to provide military support. Now, President Trump, the Trump administration, they have pledged verbal support, but they actually gone short of sending more military and logistical support to Israel. And for that reason, I believe that's why the market started selling off, at least gold started selling off, and gold stocks did that even earlier. People kind of realized that this time, at least for now, it seems a bit different, because in the past, if in several cases, the US would weigh in or NATO would weigh in on the conflict, and that would actually escalate the engagements between the countries. This time around, I think it's actually a little bit different, and that's why we're seeing gold pull back below 3,400 US dollars an ounce.
Well, in fact, Brian, yesterday, notably, we saw a couple of the larger producers in Northern Star and Evolution sold off quite dramatically. What also off the back of a broker downgrade at the same time. But that just sort of underlines, I guess, that volatility at the moment.
Yes, it does. And furthermore, what we notice is, because gold stocks have reached this very high level, and we are also watching gold stocks at the moment. If you look at this, if you look at this chart right now, the gold stocks valuation index, you won't see it anywhere else because I developed this myself, and it measures the relative level on the ASX gold index to the price of gold and the gold to oil ratio, because I believe those two are the key factors that define whether gold producers are profitable or not. You see that this index is now in the orange zone, meaning that, at least in my view, gold stocks are actually quite overvalued. The last time gold stocks were undervalued, you have to go back to around late last year, when it actually dropped to it dropped in September, just before the rate cut, and then it powered up very quickly into the overvaluation zone before pulling back, and we had the zigzagging movements into the end of the year, and then all the way up to around early February. So I've talked in the past where I believe a lot of these larger producers, the operating margins have not actually moved as much as gold has, and therefore in the March quarter they actually underperformed. And I believe the price is actually the index is actually pricing in the current performance and also expectations that these producers are going to do even better for the June quarter. Now, whether these producers are going to deliver better results in the June quarter remains to be seen. And if the operating margins do improve significantly, just like it's reflected with the gold and the gold to oil ratio, then we would expect that gold stocks could rise higher. But at current levels, that's why we're seeing a sell-off, because more investors understand that these companies are probably stretched in terms of their valuations.
All right, well, given that and what you're seeing, particularly among the larger producers, are you seeing more opportunity perhaps then at the speculative end of the market?
Yes, that's right. So if you look at the chart where I have the speculative gold stocks index, again, you won't see this anywhere else because I also developed this. It is a market cap weighted index of about 60 to 70 ASX listed explorers and early stage developers. These companies have usually have confirmed deposits, or at least solid an asset which has pretty solid drill results. The market caps are below $500 million. Therefore, we don't have too much distortion from developers that have moved ahead of itself or are in the process of becoming developers or producers. So the explorers and the early stage developers since earlier this year started really taking off. Now, again, this index is market cap weighted. It is heavily biased towards the developers that have moved ahead, including companies like Magnetic Resources, Mika Gold, AUSBIZ, Saturn Metals, Barton Gold Holdings. All of these companies have done very, very well in the last 3 to 6 months. And that's where the excitement is, at least for those people in the know in this space. That's where I'm actually suggesting my investors also rotate their funds from the larger producers to the developers and the more mature explorers, those that have significant cash in the bank, or they are in the good position to develop their projects. So today we saw Mika Gold go into a trading halt as they seek to raise capital in order to fund the restart and the ramp up of their Murchison operations. Yesterday, Investigator Resources, a silver explorer in South Australia, they announced that they would raise $4.3 million of capital to help fund their development at the Paris Silver Project over in South Australia. So I expect that a few more of these companies that haven't moved yet, but they could actually start getting more attention as investors realize this is the place to be. For me, I'm very focused on company selection, looking carefully at the assets that they have in their portfolio, their cash balance, and what stage of the exploration they're in based on the Lassonde curve. So that's where I'm looking at. Even if the Israel and Iran conflict may subside, I actually believe that the de-escalation will be sooner than most people expect, simply because the more powerful allies of the two countries, so Israel's key allies being US, NATO countries, and Iran's key allies being Russia and China, and North Korea and them, as those countries fold their arms and just exchange rhetoric rather than send troops in or provide logistic support, the conflict between Israel and Iran hopefully will fizzle away, rather that I be right on this, and the world just kind of moves on, and we can focus on other things. And if that is the case, gold could retreat a bit, and so will oil, but I think silver will probably stay above $35 an ounce.
Brian, always great to get the opportunities as you see it in the gold space. Thanks for joining us from Australian Gold Fund.
Thank you. God bless.
Thank you for watching my interview with AUSBIZ. To learn more about our work, visit the Australian Gold Fund website. Also, check out Gold Hub Australia for live precious metals price quotes and insights. You can also sign up for our regular updates. And don't forget to visit the AUSBIZ website. All our links are in the description. Please leave your comments and thoughts on where gold, silver, and the US dollar are heading below. Thank you very much. God bless.